The stoppage of funding of Bureau de Change will make funds available for raw materials.
Manufacturers commend government's economic policies towards revamping the nation's economy. And new petroleum pump price, Department of Petroleum Resources directs its field operators to enforce compliance. A warm welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Elizabeth Banu and we're reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city.
Is the pigeon symbolizing peace and interacted with the troops on location in the northeast using newly designed ICT platform.
I have just completed the parade. It has been a successful one, and I'm very pleased with this innovation, which I didn't know about it before. It's quite impressive and a morale booster. I congratulate you very much indeed.
Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We want to improve on the general welfare of our soldiers.
The take-home lesson is for us to always support our troops and ensure that we pray for their successes.
Although this year's Armed Forces Remembrance celebration has come and gone, but the sacrifice of the unknown soldier lingers on. From the National Arcade, Abuja, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
And every year the federal...
See him till after 1 year, I realized what has befell me.
These fallen officers are usually described as heroes. But why should the families they left behind be partially or totally neglected?
I don't know why pensions of soldiers are not being paid. Is it that there's no money for it? Or is it that some people are simply wicked? And since we are now in a regime of change, this is where change must take place.
Widows like Frank Amungu and Miriam Emmanuel Oloye stress the need for officers and men that are still in service to be educated on making their wives or children their next of kins. And as their late husbands are being honored, their needs should equally be met. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Still on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. In commemorating this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day, guests on NTA's Current expressed the need for government and other Nigerians to accord the right, dignity and honor to the nation's fallen heroes and families for their sacrifice to the nation. They also canvassed a more pragmatic and collective support for corporate organizations to complement the security agencies.
Bank and Co. were at that process.
The Nigerian Armed Forces is adjudged in recent time to be playing a strategic role in protecting the nation's democracy, in addition to its various roles in peacekeeping within and outside the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Support Group has congratulated the Nigerian Armed Forces for its patriotic role in curtailing activities of Boko Haram in the northeast. The coordinator of the Buhari Media Support Group, Muhammad Labbo, while commending President Muhammadu Buhari for injecting fresh hope for Nigerians and boosting the morale of the armed forces, observed that the sophisticated equipment on display at the National Arcade, which facilitated the president's communication and interaction with the troops at the theater of conflict in the northeast, is unparalleled in the nation's checkered history. Mr. Labbo observed that although the nation's projection of war on terror has taken its toll on the members of the armed forces, with the attendant loss of lives, the doggedness and indomitable spirit displayed by the servicemen must be commended by all Nigerians. Following the recommendation of the committee established to audit the procurement of arms and equipment in the armed forces and defense sector from 2007 to 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to carry out further investigation into the misconduct.
The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria says they are in the Aso Villa to appreciate the cooperation of the federal government and used the occasion to discuss some challenges facing government, how to move the nation's economy forward. President of the association, Frank Udemba Jacobs, commended government and says they are pleased with the response of the vice president. He says the economic challenges facing the nation need to be addressed if the economic diversification drive of government is to be realized. He also commented
Otom of the All Progressives Congress as the duly elected governor of Benue State on grounds that the appellant Tehemen Tazo of the People's Democratic Party PDP lacks the local standard to institute the suit. Aliu Tukur reports.
In a unanimous judgment delivered by a 7 panel of justices led by Justice Nwale Nguta, the Apex Court held that the PDP candidate is not a member of the APC and therefore he cannot contest the nomination of Samuel Otom as the governorship candidate of the APC. The panel maintained that it is only a person who contested the primary election of a party that can challenge the emergence of any candidate.
The national chairman provided the opportunity for the people to table their complaints.
Appeal to INEC is to extend the date, get us more machines. If it is possible, let us extend this registration to various polling units.
Yesterday, even the exercise was good because we have about 5 machines doing the registration. Today is 2. Just because of breakdown and the lack of maintenance whatsoever, they are giving an excuse.
There have been 2 requests so far from Muse and Garki here. One is that they need additional machines so that the process will be faster. And secondly, some pleaded for extension of time. We need to address the first problem first before we talk about the extension of time.
He said the Commission will continue to embark on voter education to ensure that Nigerians are empowered to vote. 21,976 voters have so far registered in the exercise scheduled to end on Sunday. In Abuja, Kemi Fakeye, NTA News.
The federal government says it will rehabilitate 10,000 primary healthcare centers nationwide to stem the tide of endemic diseases like Lassa fever now in some parts of the country. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, stated this during an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Health. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Garba reports.
With 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory affected and more than 40 deaths recorded as a result of Lassa fever epidemic, Senate on resumption from recess directed its Committee on Health to investigate the situation. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, who describes the situation as national embarrassment for lack of quick notification by the first state affected, says efforts are on to contain the disease.
We are emphasizing early presentation and what we call active case identification. And we are advocating that if you find anybody with fever lasting more than 2 days and not responding to the typical malaria, such a person should be really sent to a referral center where we can make the diagnosis.
Chairman Senate Committee on Health, Senator Olaruwaju Tajesho, and other members called for more awareness to prevent the spread of the Lassa fever.
We have to be ahead of all these vectors and viruses and bacteria by making sure that we are always ready to combat whatever attack may come our way.
The committee, however, commended the responsiveness of the Federal Ministry of Health on the issue. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Away from health, the House Committee on the Federal Capital Territory has expressed.
Because we have thought of that, they should have been able to at least have that as a buffer to whatever challenges that they would have had, in terms of their finances.
This is totally unacceptable for FCT. So this committee is going to take it up.
They impressed upon the area council chairman of the FCT and their council treasurers that all hands must be on deck to make payment of salaries a topmost priority, as well as boosting internally generated revenue, and also blocking leakages by disengaged consultants. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adingle, NTA News.
The Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, has
entertained.
But from Calabar, Port Harcourt, for God's sake, we had meetings with them several times. Show us evidence of what you bought from the depot.
In Niger State, because the controller have sealed about 12 filling stations, the IPMAN are on strike.
The inspection of filling stations to ensure total compliance, as the director mandated, will be on daily basis in all the states of the Federation. In Abuja, Mie Ogide, NTA News.
Nigerians advised to intensify prayers to God for the nation's growth and development. We'll bring you details after this break. Stay with us.
Nigerians, do you know the look of a suicide bomber? They're usually in loose or heavy clothing, usually inappropriate for the weather. They carry bags or packages. They tighten their hands or keep them in their pockets. They are unaware of their surroundings, always alone and nervous. They'll be found driving cars, moving very fast or extremely slow. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. If you see something, say something.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Life's one big hustle. That's why around here, we don't hang around for pocket money or handout fees. Nah, bruv. We hustle and grind. Like Angela, economics major, but she's a cool makeup artist on the side. Or Steve, third year engineering. Awesome photographer. Even the VC wants him for his shot. How about Tony? He's also a DJ. His hustle is so tight. So how do we hype our hustle? With MTN Caller Fill. It's a simple and unique way of selling what you do whenever anyone calls. So whenever I call Angela or Tony or anyone, their Caller Fill message sells their hustle instantly. Plus, you can make your Caller Fill messages come alive with smileys of your choice. Now, isn't that cool?
Simply text REG to 50016.
MTN, everywhere you go.
My people, now how Pacific service suicide bomber self? Suicide bomber they always knack heavy cloth, or sometimes anyhow loose cloth when not delicate with the weather at all. They always carry big bag or many load like who they travel. They always tight hand like blow, or even put their hand inside pocket like who called the mama. Sometimes suicide bomber like to tanda alone they fear. And they know they send waiting they happen around them all. Sometimes then they drive motor fast, fiam. And sometimes now so they go they drive slow, they terranger. If you shadow any kind load with them drop, or messing with kurukere waka when up.
Annoyed mom. The cautious mom. And the Dettol mom. She only trusts Dettol antiseptic liquid to protect her family from up to 100 illness-causing germs, and it's recommended for cuts and scrapes. Which is why you can worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol mom.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Whenever you recharge your Airtel line, you could win a trip to Dubai for yourself and your family members or closest pals. Win one of 60 trips for 4 to Dubai in the Airtel Red Hot promo. Now that's a trip for 200.
Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you.
First serve basis. Vehicle belong to union leaders. Gates on hindered passage every day. While vehicle belongs to ordinary members, continue to remain without patronage. Any report to the contrary will be dealt with in accordance with the provision of the Constitution of the Union.
In solidarity with one of their own who is a traditional title holder in Kefi Emirate, the leadership of the union later paid a visit to the new emir of Kefi, Alhaji Shehu Usman Ya Musa, to congratulate him. The emir thanked them and commended the transformation that has been carried out in the union. Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Again, Nigerians have been advised to intensify prayers to God in addressing personal and general situations. Chief Imam of Ansaruddin Mosque, Abuja, Musa Olaofe, based his sermon on prayers in achieving goals and remembrance of the fallen heroes, as Musbao Danwahab reports.
The sermon reflected in its tone and message the economic and security situation in the country and around the world. In Aya, the chief imam says it's no longer an option, the reality is stark. But he says the Holy Quran captures times like this and that the only way forward prescribed by Allah is to turn to Him in prayers, reminding those at the helm of affairs that their tenure will not be permanent. Imam Olaofe admonished them to make the most of their time to better the lot of the citizenry.
Don't forget those who are suffering. Allah says, if I like.
The country is bigger than any individual. We advise all Nigerians that the cohesion and the unity of Nigeria is what is paramount by this government.
Some service chiefs also reiterated the commitment of the armed forces to keep Nigeria united as well as secure lives and property.
The issue of security is a collective business. So you and I must pull hands, pull resources together so that it will be better for us.
The federal government is committed not only to the total defeat of terrorism and insurgency in all parts of Nigeria. The government is committed to rebuilding all territories that have been devastated so that people can return to their lives and live without let or hindrance.
But we are still asking for the amendment of the pension allowance.
Highlight of the event was the laying of wreaths in honor of our fallen heroes and release of pigeons to signify peace. In Lagos, Victoria Olabode, NTA News.
Nigeria needs to profoundly reform and sustain adequate investment in education for the nation to achieve its goal of becoming one of the largest 20 economies in the world by 2020. Speakers at this year's Gani Farahimi Memorial Lecture in Lagos say only educated and knowledgeable citizens can become productive enough to stimulate the kind of growth Nigeria aspires to attain in the
branch in honor of Chief Gani Farahimi, one of Nigeria's foremost human rights activists and lawyer who struggled for the enthronement of democracy until his death in the year 2009. In Lagos, the Chido, NT News.
And to business. Manufacturers urge governments to stimulate food processing activities in Nigeria. These and more with Abdullahi Mohammed on Business News.
Hello, this is Business News and thanks for joining us. The federal government has continued to implement policies that will help fulfill its aspirations to create employment through revamping agriculture. This is already yielding positive results. However, experts say more measures need to be taken to stimulate activities toward adding value to the agricultural produce, especially the perishable goods. For farmers who cultivate perishable goods like tomatoes, the peak of the harvest season has over the years left them in a dilemma. Unlike other farmers who smile to the bank at boom times, the farmer who cultivates tomatoes, pepper and onions is faced with two options: Either the harvest is sold at prices lower than production cost in saturated markets or leave the produce to perish at the farms. Consequently, about 75% of perishable goods cultivated in Nigeria rot away without being utilized.
The farmers who buy from there and the person who buy, though they are shorted, when they sell finish, even the transport money never completes.
But this ugly scenario can be turned around for the good of the farmer and the Nigerian economy, according to one of the major players in the food processing sector of the Nigerian economy. He stressed that government needs to clamp down on cheap imports and strengthen the capacity of indigenous food processors.
Give us a general intervention set aside. Not intervention that they will give after 2 weeks, 6 weeks, the whole money is in India and the river.
The Nigerian food processing industry had about 9 major players, which is now reduced to 3.
Keep closing down. Why? Chinese policy in their country are designed to close any company's production. Only them will be doing.
Meanwhile, the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria has appealed to the Central Bank of Nigeria to reconsider its stance on the sale of foreign exchange to its members.
Constructive engagement with the stakeholders in the industry is better than use of reflex policy approach to address the symptom rather than the root causes.
And let's take a look at figures on the close of business on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange Friday. Transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed today with the all-share index maintaining its downward trend, 23,514.04 points. Market capitalization closed 8.1 trillion naira, while about 476.65 million shares was sold, valued at 6.18 billion naira in 4,448 deals. And that's business news. Thanks for being part of it. The news continues shortly.
Thank you, Abdullahi. You're still watching NTA Network News from the Lagos Network Center. More stories ahead on the news with Elizabeth in Abuja after these messages. Stay tuned.
Every day, more and more people are waking up to a more advanced toothpaste. A toothpaste that's already improving the oral health of millions of Nigerians. A toothpaste that's committed to making Nigeria's teeth healthier and stronger. That toothpaste is Oral-B Pro Health. Unlike regular toothpaste, its advanced fluoride technology gives you
New Dettol 55 gram soap for 18 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
The new Big Crystal Original, now with more remarkably visible ink, a tinted support and a ballpoint that glides easily. Big Crystal Original, it makes the grade.
Always, we have lived together as brothers and sisters since long time in River, without no mind that we are spoken different languages and celebration our cultural and diversity. No bombing, no cultism, no kidnapping. Nowadays, our children are trampoline to cultists. Today, we are suspicion one another. All this notorious behavior have scattered all over Nigeria. When are you going to change? More. When are you going to stop? Terrorism are unwanted visitors. Kidnapping are criminal. Cultism are barbaric. Do not destroy this country, oh. Our country, Nigeria, are blessed, oh. Are you see what I'm saying? Support Nigerian police force in their civil war against terror, kidnapping and cultism. Report any bad move around you. See and does not talk, I kill old age. And to hear and does not behavior, I kill small pikin. All of us have the duty of building Nigeria free of crime. That are our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. The Federal Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the Office of the Presidential Amnesty Program have resolved to synergize to build structures that will sustain peace and stability in the Niger Delta region. The two public agencies hope to complement each other's efforts in the task of achieving government's core mandate of fast-tracking.
In Abuja, Nnamdi Ojigbo, NTA News.
The African Telecommunication Union, ATU, is to assist Nigeria to further strengthen telecommunications in Nigeria, especially in the area of quality service. ATU's Secretary General Abdul Karim Samaila stated this when he visited the headquarters of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Ruben Okala reports.
Union scribe congratulated Nigeria for its leadership role in the African telecom market, as well as the appointment of Nigeria's Festus Daudu as the current chairman of the World Radio Conference. The Union Secretary General says 2016 will be a busy year with the International Telecommunication Union events, which Nigeria is expected to participate.
NCC is one of the ATU council member, but also what I want to draw also, NCC is one of our big contributor in the finance of the ATU.
The Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, says the Commission needs the assistance of ATU to enhance and sustain the growth of the sector in Nigeria.
We therefore like to explore more collaboration with the ATU, especially in the areas of capacity building and development of expertise. 2016, that is the year 2016, is also going to be a very busy year for the ITU.
Also to our party.
Africa Telecommunication Union is full of praises for the astronomical growth in the Nigeria telecom industry being piloted by NCC, with a word of caution to operators to live up to the expectation of the over 150 million subscribers in the quality of service. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
More on Armed Forces Remembrance Day as we link up with Shehu in Jos. It's good to see you, Shehu.
Good to see you too, Lizzie. Welcome to Jos. Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau Legionnaires to participate actively in the ongoing peace-building process until lasting peace returns to the state. It was at the 2016 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, a wreath-laying ceremony in Jos, where Governor Lalong describes this year's event as symbolic, coming at a time when there is relative peace in the peace-building process. The ongoing efforts at restoring lasting peace among warring communities of Barikilad local government area of Plateau State is beginning to yield positive results as Fulani herdsmen paid compensation to Birom farmers. Correspondent Kim Goetz reports that the cash presentation was witnessed by commander of the Operation Safe Haven, which facilitated the compensation of the destroyed farmlands.
That was the representative of the Fulani Rearers and the Birom farmers exchanging the 380,000 naira compensation. Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Kagbo Ude, said the operation stands for justice and will remain resolute in ensuring the total return of peace in Barkin Ladi and in the entire Plateau State.
We are adopting mandatory payment of compensation for any farmland that is deliberately destroyed or any cow that is killed.
To the representatives of the Mieti Allah Cattle Rearers Association, Plateau State, and the Birom farmers, the compensation is an indication that peace has returned to Barkin Ladi.
What matters most is to stop the mischief.
With the coming of this sector commander, we have experienced so many changes. No killing, or let me say, the killing has reduced to the lower level.
It will be recalled that on the 6th of January this year, over 300 cows destroyed farm produce worth millions of naira in Kasa, Barkin Ladi local government area. In Jos, Kim Goetz, NTA News.
Up ahead, global tidbits and sports. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Especially for you.
Which era are you living in? We have a fridge.
When everything else in your house is from the present, Then why are your toilet cleaning methods from the past? Harpic, all-in-one for you. Compared to other toilet cleaners, Harpic removes top stains, kills all germs, and removes bad odors. For a shining, clean, and fresh toilet.
Wow.
You should also take the Harpic
all-in-one challenge.
Remembered and sadly missed by us all. Signed, Chief Ambassador Abayomi Akintola and Dr. Abimbola Akintola, for and on behalf of the grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Africa-based journalists win big at the 2015 European Union Lorenzo Natali Media Prize, and Al-Shabaab militants claim responsibility for attack on the African Union Mission military base in Somalia as the country counts down to election day. These and more on Global Tidbits with Chimdima Ndubisi.
African journalists took home 5 out of the 10 contested awards at the 2015
Super Eagles to beat Niger Republic in their opening game at the 2016 Championship of African Nations, CHAN, in Rwanda. Kene Mabudike brings us details on Sports Update.
16 countries are set to begin hostilities in the 4th edition of the Championship of African Nations, CHAN 2016, which kicks off in Kigali, Rwanda, Saturday, with the host meeting Ivory Coast in the opener, while Gabon face Morocco later in the day. Football enthusiasts say there shouldn't be any cause for alarm when home-based Super Eagles open their campaign against the menace of Niger Republic Monday in Group C.
I'm looking forward to a very positive game against Niger Republic because the boys have been in good form.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development Solomon Dalung has charged athletes and officials to work towards ensuring that the nation's outing at the 2016 Rio Olympics will not be as dismal as that of 2012, where the contingent won no medal. Dalung told members of the Nigeria Olympic Committee who paid him a visit Thursday in Abuja that the federal government is ready to support efforts at realizing the target in Rio.
As a giant of Africa who performed woefully at the last outing, we should come with an intimidating approach.
Leader of the delegation and president of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, Habu Gumel, assured the minister that he would deliver on the nation's expectations. About 7 sports have already qualified for the Olympics, with others
And that's it on NTA Network News. We thank you for watching from all of us here. It's good night.